It's been a long time since my last video. But hey, got some Batman stuff. Got this big boy right here. So I want to talk about the movie Joker. So, now there are some things I could talk about. Also, spoilers. You haven't, well, not really spoilers, but kind of just forewarning for those of you who haven't seen Joker that just came out. I'm not going to be talking about the political stuff, like that's an interesting thing to talk about with the whole divide, with the clowns and the lower class and the rich, and then Republicans, Democrats. There's a whole bunch of parallels you can make there. Other people can talk about that. Also, mental illness is another important thing to talk about. That could make its own video. I don't really feel like talking about in this one. Today I want to give an interesting perspective that some others might actually have a similar perspective with me, but I figured the movie just came out. Got to get those YouTube views, and on the off chance, that no one does make a video like it, I just want to give my perspective, not only just on the Joker movie and what kind of things you can get from it, but also with the whole philosophy of Joker in general and most of the comics and stuff. So Arthur Fleck in the movie, of course, he's mentally, not the most there, where, there are some iterations where he's clinically not insane. His worldview has gotten him to a point. And even still with this one, I think it still has to do with the worldview. So, a bunch of bad things happened to Arthur Fleck in this movie. And he's already a weirdo, but he's slowly descending into madness. It's a slow burn throughout the movie. And just a bunch of stuff keeps happening that just keeps making him go, to get him to the point that he's at. But I just want to make the argument that for this movie in particular, and for the Joker as a whole, one, whether mentally ill or not, I think the problem, if we want to talk about society, as the movie, like to say a lot, is society. The problem is the secularization of the Western culture. So, people are worried about shootings and stuff happening from this movie. That's stupid. Stop blaming movies and video games for violence. If somebody looks at Joker and goes, I want to do that, they were already mentally ill to begin with. But regardless, that's a separate whole nother video. But, no, because Joker, or Arthur Fleck, he's going through all this stuff, and he just keeps having badness after badness after badness after badness. Here's some spoilers. He has stuff with his mom, being, she's kind of loopy too. Then he has the whole thing with Thomas Wayne going on. You've got the guys in the subway. You got Murray. You got all of this stuff going on, just messing with him. His psychiatrist no longer being able to take care of him not being able to take his medication, just losing his job, this and that, and just not having a good time. And nobody really showed that they cared about him, except for the midget dude, who he lets live in the movie. I said spoilers, so. But I think the true reason, and that we need to be cautious of people becoming like that, is because of secularization. Because of the decrease of belief in God. And atheists, if you want to make your arguments and be like, we don't want to talk about your invisible sky daddy. I'm just giving my own thoughts and opinions, because I know that I'm pretty sure this is not what the director had in mind, but I want to give my take on it. So, the desecularization of America and of the West. Nobody ever told Arthur Fleck about Jesus. No one ever told him after he got beat in the subway, hey, I know that you are you don't feel bad about what you've done, and maybe we should talk about that, but also just so you know, I care about you. I think you have intrinsic worth and value, because I think, Arthur, that you're made in the image of God, and God loved you so much that he was willing to die for you. That he took beatings and death for you, so that way you could have an eternity with him. So if you think nobody cares about you, the creator of the cosmos cares about you. So who cares what these losers and these rapists on the train think about you, alright? You are amazing. You are wonderful because you're made in the image of God. If he knew the truth about Jesus, if he knew that, perhaps this Joker movie would have never happened. Perhaps this iteration of the Joker, any of them that we've ever met, would never have happened if they would have just known, even though on their bad day, that if God is for you, then who can be against you? That God is there to be there for you when you need it. Perhaps none of that would have happened. But of course, then we get into real life. We're all worried about school shooters and mass shootings. But the culture is decreasingly giving them a reason to not want to. It keeps giving them reasons to do it. Look, there was no gun law restrictions in the 50s, and you do not hear about nearly as many shootings as you do now. I don't think it's because we aren't careful with our guns. I think we're more careful now with guns than we ever were. Now, you could argue with me about that in the comments if you want, but we can all agree it's much more secure than it was in the 50s. And there was practically almost no mass shootings in the 50s. Maybe an odd one here and there, but not nearly as often as it happens now. I'm not in school anymore. I just graduated in June, but God forbid somebody shoots up my old school or my workplace. Why not? Because their daddy told them not to? Or maybe their daddy wasn't there, their mommy told them not to? Society tells them not to? Joker doesn't care about society anymore. We watched the movie. If there is no God, if there is no reason to not do it, if there were a couple bullies who treated you like crap in school, why not pop their brains out? Why not pop out everyone who's ever slightly said something mean to you? Why not? There's no reason not to. Everything's pointless. If you say people have intrinsic worth, you gotta somehow justify that under your worldview that we're just basically meatbags. You have no proof for that. That's just a statement that you're making with no way to back that up. Whereas if I say, Arthur Fleck, a guy that tries to shoot up a school, they're made in the image of God. And also if they know that there are real consequences. Because jail might be whatever. Joker doesn't care that he's in Arkham right now. He doesn't care. But if they know that there's an eternity of suffering that they might go for treating people in the way that they shouldn't, by blowing people's brains out, by killing them when they shouldn't, and that there's something far worse for them than jail, then maybe they would think twice about shooting somebody. But as is the case, as you continue to desecularize the world, as the atheists of YouTube, Matt Dillahunty, Cosmic Skeptic, Rationality Rules, all those big names, Richard Dawkins, Sam Harris, Daniel Dennett, as you continue to push and call religion evil, you don't worry about your own worldview. Or, okay, it's not a worldview, it's a lack of belief. But this lack of belief can lead to the death of people or suicide. If they know that there's a God that cares about them. Even if they have clinical depression, which I have bipolar. So I get depressed for seemingly no reason. But if there is a God who loves you and cares about you, it will help you to not want to do that. You're still going to struggle, but it's going to be easier to handle something like suicide and those kind of thoughts and depression than if society tells you, oh, well, the universe is random, it's meaningless, everything's determined. Well, some atheists might say that, others don't. Depends on the atheist. But, you matter because you can help our society and you can help grow our future and make us, great. And we can help the future of our future children. And you matter because we say you do. The evidence doesn't really show that you matter. We kind of just impute matter onto you, but that's all really arbitrary. It doesn't really exist. Just society's determined that you have value because otherwise the species would die off or something. Fair enough, that shows that they only have value in the sense that they can help propagate DNA and continue the human race, not that themselves as an individual, as a person, with all their likes and dislikes, all their wants and desires, that person with a mind doesn't matter. They're just sex machines to help further along the species. I don't agree with that. I think every single person, Matt Dillahunty, Cosmic Skeptic, Obama, Trump, me, you watching this video, every single person on this planet has intrinsic worth and value, and that they're all made in the image of God. And so, with Joker, he believes that everything is meaningless. That's why it's all a joke. He even says in this very book, all it takes is one bad day to reduce the sanest man alive to lunacy. He tells Batman, it's all a joke. Anything you've ever valued or struggled for, it's all a monstrous, demented gag. It's all a joke. Everything you ever do, anything you ever strive for, every atheist that says we're going to strive science, we're going to move forward, it's meaningless. It might have temporary meaning, but at the end of the day, we're all going to die. And eventually, this universe will burn out. No one will remember Matt Dillahunty. No one will remember me. The universe won't care. We'll cease to exist. And that's his whole thing. That's the joke. Everything's funny. Everything's trivial because none of it matters. Now, Batman himself in the comics isn't religious. He would be more on the agnostic side, the atheist. But the problem with Batman is Joker's actually right if atheism is true. He has this fake sense of self-righteousness, of fighting the good fight, of not killing people, with these morals that he arbitrarily attributes. And that's the best joke, I think, ever if Joker's correct. That Batman's wrong. That everything is meaningless, and everything you strive to protect Batman is all for naught. It's all pointless. It's a losing battle. Batman's beliefs are pointless because under his worldview, he can't account for any of it. And Joker just wants to show him the hypocrisy, show him the truth, make him laugh at the joke of the world that everything doesn't matter. But again, if Joker had heard about Jesus, if Arthur Fleck had known that the creator of the universe cared about him, perhaps he wouldn't have done what he's done and become who he becomes. And who knows? Maybe someday we might have a version of an actual Joker. That would be scary, wouldn't it? So, treat people right, atheist or not. You know, I'm probably going to get comments in this video, hey, you suck, you're a piece of crap, you're stupid, you believe in God. And you say stuff like, it's not going to affect me. But be careful who you say that to. You might just make the next Joker. Or next mass shooter. Or the next serial killer. Be careful what you say to people. And if you do believe in God, never be afraid, no matter what the world says, to tell them about Jesus. Because you might actually not only save one life for eternity, you might save 100 million other lives because that guy or that lady listened to you and didn't become something horrible. And with that, I'll leave you with some food for thought. That's just my interesting thoughts that I thought. I'm sure other people thought about it. I know there are many other important things to discuss, like mental health and stuff. I just really wanted to stress that if we're talking about society, that I think the big issue with all of this, with mass shootings and all this with Joker, is that there's a lack of belief in God. And I truly believe that if more people believed, that there would be less of this. And people are going to argue with me in the comments, and that's okay. But that's my food for thought. Joaquin Phoenix will never see this video. The director of the movie, Todd Phillips, will never see this video. But I love the movie. It disturbed me. I liked parts that I probably shouldn't because he's bad. But Joker's also one of my favorite characters of all time. And I think it's because he speaks to such deep philosophical questions like this that people don't usually really think about. So, and I got some Christian apologetics in there too, but That's how it goes. If you know what that is, you can Google it. But I hope you're all having a wonderful day. I appreciate you, even if I don't know you. I think you all matter. And if you're ever feeling down, any of you, I know I'm just a random 18-year-old, almost 19, but I'm more than happy to talk to anybody. I'm willing to be there for anyone who needs just someone to be there. And we all can treat each other better and help stop a joker from coming. And for those that are religious, never be afraid to tell somebody about Jesus, because you might save somebody for eternity. They might know Jesus and be saved forever. And then by doing so, we might protect that person who might have become bad from hurting a bunch of other people. And people are going to make arguments about religion being dangerous or whatever. But I promise you, if more people were Christian, there would be less violence around. Now, people can use religion for bad things, but Christianity, its very core, is a message of forgiveness and redemption. Jesus, Son of God, died on a cross, despite how imperfect you are, despite how imperfect Arthur Fleck is, despite how imperfect we all are, despite how much we sin, how much we mess up, how much we hurt other people on the daily, even if you don't realize it. You do. It says, I love you anyway. If you would just believe in me and trust in me, you'll have eternal life. And I'll leave that with some food for thought. Have a good day and keep on smiling. I know he would. Goodbye.